Leo, thank you for having this conversation with me. Um, I struggle to put into words the delight, the love, um, yeah, the joy that it's been sharing this 6 months with you. And I'm looking forward to our next period of time together as well. Really super excited about that. It's just thank you for agreeing to do this because I've noticed again. I was thinking, well, how could I describe what I've seen differently in you? Oh my gosh, I hope he doesn't ask me that, but because I'm going to ask you that. It's I just it's just been really beautiful to watch, and you have been a really wonderful. You are a wonderful client because of how open you are, how honest you are. And I know there's been times when during our time together, you haven't always felt that way, but you have still demonstrated that in sharing what's been going on for you. So I'm just so grateful. Just really, it's like almost the words "thank you" feel insufficient, really. Um,
I
just
can relate to that.
for the time we've had together. So, but I'm going to go back further. So, because you reached out to me, I think you came to me perhaps via my podcast. But let's just start. And, and just to be clear, I'm hoping that people will watch this. Of course, I would love. What I really love is for people to get a glimpse of what's possible in a coaching relationship. Fundamentally, that's it.
Hmm.
So, how would you describe, yeah, yourself and indeed your life prior to reaching out to me? And I'm also curious then, was there something that happened? What was it that had you reach out to me?
Wow, that's a tough question already. Um, so the week I really decided to reach out to you was one of the 2 weeks I spent on vacation in Switzerland. And I did that to get away from my daily life in Bayreuth, where I am right now, as a student. Because there was like this never-ending sense of being misplaced, to put it shortly. And oh God, that feels like shit even saying it now. Oops, am I allowed to swear here? Yeah,
What do you think?
I'm probably gonna do it anyway. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. I was in this little space of trying to kind of understand what's happening in my life right now and why I just can't get my studies done of computer sciences in this case. And I had started a educational program, a training in Gestalt therapy. And I just noticed like, oh wow, my sensitivity, my ability to connect with what's going on now, the fact that I've been meditating for years, it's all useful in this setting of a one-on-one trying to cope with life situation. And then I met my first client there, actually, who is now in a co-creative alliance with me. Like I coach him, he gives me a website and all that stuff. So that all came from this one moment of I heard your podcast the day before, and I was really inspired simply by what I heard, and having spending the evening with my first client. And then at some point I was like, you know what? This topic looks really interesting to me. I'm just beginning in my training program, but I would really like to offer you some time together looking into that deeper. So it was like, oh, yeah, I feel content with that, actually. I would like that. So I did that. And he just completely changed his life afterwards. It was a topic of boundaries and honoring what you want and how you want to work with people and create your life, kind of. And he just like 6 months sabbatical came afterwards with his wife. And it was planned already to some degree to do that, but it was like, what am I going to do with this time? I don't know. And then it was very clear for him he was going to find out what he really cared to do with his life. And it was what kind of world he wanted to create for him to live in. And oh man, it even now it touches me deeply. Just this moment of seeing and feeling, it was so meaningful for this person that I was spending time with, this other soul in the world. And I was like, wow, I want to do this in my life. Like, I definitely want to do this. And then I just listened to a few more podcasts. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to write this guy just to see what comes from it. Because knocking on the door of my client, my first client was like the thing that brought it. So why would I not knock on Phil's door? So that's what happened.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. And this is, one of the things I love about you, Leo. And I don't think certainly not every coach that I speak to allows this out in the way that you do, is this love and enthusiasm. Some might call it hope, but there's like just this knowing of others and seeing their heart. Yeah, just that enthusiasm for people. I could put a full stop there, but this enthusiasm and love for people and for them to live their most joyous, loving life. Like, we've had times together where we've both been moved around that. And of course, yes, we don't necessarily need to go in that as conversation, but there's a shadow side to that when we come across people that, perhaps resist that, particularly, people that are close to us. I've experienced that. I know you've experienced that, right? There's a shadow side to really caring and really wanting people to have their most loving, joyful experience of life. And I think it's really important for us to not deny either of those, not just, as you know, in any aspect, to not deny the shadow aspect of that. Like, we've had tears on our calls and both been really moved. And what I get about you, like, because I relate to it so much, is I am so in love with life and in love with people, and I think this is why I just feel such an affinity with you, because that's certainly how you appear to me.
I actually have to fire a question back to you there. Is that how I appeared to you in the beginning of our time together?
Well, so it's kind of one of those situations where, oh, there's something here about this guy, and there was a few things like there was that, but that didn't become clear. It's kind of like, you walk past a baker shop and you can smell something nice cooking, but you're not sure what it is, right? And then you go in and it becomes clear. There was that sense, and I do very much follow that. Some people call it intuition or whatever, but it just wasn't clear to me from the start. Like, for example, I've shared with you before that it wasn't apprehension. It was excitement laced with fear, because I thought, this guy's really also really smart and is going to challenge me. And I love that. But of course, that's scary. Like, nobody says, okay, I don't want to generalize really, but I know in me that I'd love to be challenged, and of course it's scary. Like, it's so natural, and I really felt that about you. So, in answer to your question, it wasn't clear, but I just really sensed something. And then, of course, as we got to know each other, and as I got to know you, then that became like really obvious. And I think that's a fundamental strength for any coach to have, is to care about people more than you care about being rejected.
I'm already tearing up because I think what you saw in me was something that I couldn't
Mm.
at that time. how I would describe it is I was very invested in understanding the human experience. Like, what the fuck is going on? On all levels. It's just amazing that life is a freaking roller coaster. Why? Like, what is the point of this? Nature doesn't leave shit laying around for fun. Like, it is very rationalized. 8 hours of sleeping in a day catatoniically in a corner, it's there because there's a reason. Like, if Mother Nature had found a way to give you something more sensible and productive, it would be there, right? But it's not. So why is our human experience this way? And I think the main point where I decided I needed to quit my studies and do something different with my life was when I realized I'm just not interested in what computers do. Because this topic is just huge compared to that. And the fact that I am now able to truly commit to loving people, and that's going to make me cry, it is simply our time together, Phil.
Mm. Yeah.
I didn't even allow myself to see that was going on.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. And allowing myself that is something in a way which felt dirty in the beginning, and we talked about that quite a bit, is like, wait, I can earn money with doing this. That's really, really cool. But also my relationship with money is like one of ambivalence, or was mainly one of ambivalence. And it felt like the one thing was going to sully the other. And also being able to realize fully that that's just bullshit in my head.
Yeah.
And I'm allowed to be whoever I want to be. And I'm allowed to let the world or the market decide if I'm allowed to get money for that or not. Like, this whole egotistical idea of I'm deserving of that and not deserving of that is not very attractive anymore.
And seeing that certainly makes being of service, if you want to put a label on it, loving people, which
Yeah.
is being of service, makes that a whole lot easier and less complicated.
I mean, one of my clients, I told directly that I think my job in our relationship, not in ours, but the one I have with my client there, is loving him and trusting him until he does.
Mm. Yeah, that's such a beautiful way of putting it. Yeah.
And I don't go around saying that to every client, right? But I just deeply felt that he has like everything he needs and wants, and he's such an intelligent person, and he can do whatever he really does want to do. But there is this total lack of interest of really making that happen, right? Really honoring that he has all this potential to enjoy life and to make a life he enjoys, and the lack of trust in himself to create it. And I was like, wow, this is it. I think this is what coaching is mainly about for me.
Uh,
And yeah,
I love that you're getting to experience that, because I remember us having some conversations as well around that. So yeah, it's just beautiful to hear you share that. I'm curious, just going back a little, did you have any expectations or like, um, yeah, at the start of our time, handing over a fee, like, what was that? What was that like for you? What was going on for you?
I don't know, man. I think it
Should we
was
drag that guy back? The old Leo. Maybe we'll get him back to answer that.
I'm I think I don't know how to put it in a way that doesn't seem very uninteresting. um Or maybe it is really interesting. It was just the first time I fully accepted the fact that I don't know what's going to happen. I just don't know. And all I do is I feel like there's a strong pull towards being with you. And I saw you're living a life in a way, and the way you are is just something I fully appreciate. That there are people out there doing it, and I could be doing something like it. And I was just like, okay, like every morning I need to just turn the shower to cold, and it'll feel terrible for a moment, and then I'll feel really good about it. And that's kind of what I did. I just took the jump, took the dive.
A culture. A
I
culture.
didn't really have an expectation where it would lead me. I was like hoping it would make my life better.
Yeah, oh damn it! That's kind of spoilt my next question because I was wondering, well, is there anything that surprised you? But if I guess if you didn't have any expectations, maybe I don't
Oh,
know.
are surprises always tied to expectations?
Oh, that's an interesting inquiry. But what did surprise you then?
No, I got stuck in my head for a moment thinking, am I allowed to say this? But I think how mundane being enlightened is. And I don't want to like use this word as a spiritual woo-woo shit, but just the fact that recognizing that the human experience in itself is completely good and correct, and you're allowed to follow it along, go with the flow. It, it's that it is simple. It is really simple. And it's so powerful. And I did not expect that. Oh man, now I'm getting like really sad. I did not even remotely believe that I could feel so good about life and myself like I do now. And I didn't even feel like I was in a terrible mindset before, right? I didn't hate the world. I just felt a bit stuck. And now I'm like, oh my God, it's like all these layers of joy in the human experience that I cut myself off of because of like, okay, this feeling is not good, or this part of life is something I don't want and need to avoid. And just fully accepting that acceptance of how it is brings such joy, and the ability to act. That's something I really want to emphasize. It's like not the laying in my corner laughing and being happy shit. It's the interest in fully engaging in with the world. Like I get all excited talking about that because it's just incredible. It's just
Yeah, that's just
I never knew I was scared of connecting with people, kind of in the background, until now I realized how much joy there is in it for me. Like I didn't let that joy happen. I didn't let that love through. And now I can, or I do.
are you still scared of connecting with people?
Yeah, sure. Like it still happens that the feeling of tension, the fear, the drawback from something, like even while I'm talking, there are some things I want to say where I'm like, or that come out, and I'm like, for a moment, oh, I can't say that. So of course that's still there, but that's exactly the point for me. It's the relationship to it that has changed. And the freedom of creating a good life, to me, what I took from our time together is the freedom to create the relationships with how I experience it any way I want. Like, who the fuck can tell me I need to be scared of fear and draw back or something like that? It's that's the part of us that is the God of our world, is how we relate to the experience we are in. Yeah, it's liberation. It's the ultimate freedom.
Yeah, yeah.
It's incredible. man.
Liberation, unleashed. It's been
That's
so
right.
joyful. Just yeah, watching your love, your desires to be unleashed.
Mm.
Yeah.
I still can't believe I can make a living like this. It just hits me in the face once in a while, and I'm like, oh wow, that's amazing.
Mm.
I'm very grateful. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. I'm
Me
very
too. Me
grateful.
too. Me too. Oh, just kicked off Siri. I just wanted to ask you then. So really, overall, um, if you were to summarize like your okay, you said you didn't have any expectations, and I really admire that and love that in that the willingness to step into to acknowledge, I don't really know. Even if you have expectations, we can never really know. Like I'm going out to a concert tonight, and I have some ideas about it, but I don't really know because it hasn't happened yet.
Exactly.
So I'm curious, just if you summarized your experience of coaching, whether you have any preconceptions, and if you didn't, then that's cool. But how would you summarize? How would you summarize your experience?
Wow. Hmm. I mean, my experience of your coaching, of you in this case, I'll try to pinpoint it right there because my experience of coaching has been varied. But with you, I really felt like there is a path to clarity of how I can experience the world. It is an empowerment on a different level than what I would have had expected. Like there was no talk about creating a stronger self or maybe even the opposite. Actually, there might have been talk of that. And just this radical perspective on life in a way that you were able to share in such a non-invasive, kind, and loving way to me. Just saying that. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. And if I wished anything for any of my clients, it would be exactly that. So, gosh, thank you.
I'm so looking forward to the next 6 months together because I feel like the loving life part, I've got it down pretty much now, maybe, probably. And I'm just interested in what that means for our time together and what will be created from that.
Yeah, yeah, I'm super excited about it, and I'm right there with you and with all the bumps as well of life, and then yeah, just loving it all. There's things that show up that I wouldn't vote for, but yeah, there's always love there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna start inviting pain, but it's gonna show up.
right, right. Leo, thank you so much, and I think it sounds like that just feels like a good place to bring this particular conversation to a close. I'm sure we'll do more stuff because of the affinity that we have, but for the purpose of this, I just wanted to really give people a glimpse. As I said, I'm so grateful of you being willing to do that. I love you. I'm so grateful for you and for our time together, and yeah, looking forward to whatever shows up next.
I love you too, Phil, and I really love our time together. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.